This week on Top Travel, Jeannie and Janez try their hand at pottery in the Italian town of Pietrasalmare. Then it's up the coast to Salerno, home to Europe's oldest botanical garden. Back on their ship, they pull on their dancing shoes before stopping in Santorini, where they indulge in the local Greek delicacies and parasail on the beach before exploring the city island of Rhodes. Then it's off to magnificent Turkey.
Jeannie, you know I'm a great fan of history, but the interpretation of history with a modern twist is really so interesting to me.
Well, this isn't even such a modern concept. I think Pietrasalmare has been doing ceramics for over 500 years.
Wow.
But before, they used to use these things in the home for plates and jugs, but now they're collector's items.
And it's at quite a hefty price tag, 3,500 euros for a pot. Do you want one?
It's definitely worth it. It's beautiful.
It is beautiful.
This part of Italy is actually quite famous for its ceramic productions since the 15th century.
Francesca, nice to meet
Hello.
you.
Hello, Francesca.
Hi, how are you?
Francesca, there's a great tradition of ceramics and ceramic art. What story are you trying to tell through your art?
Allora, Vitri è una grande...
There is a long tradition in here from the Roman times, but they have something typical, the yellow, the green, the blue, reminding that looks like the Greek one, but it's not really Greek. And on the other hand, there was a Greek colony not far away from here, so we take mythology from that Greek colony, and Francesco uses it as a subject for his works.
Oh, great.
Mr. Antonio.
Hola, Mr.
Grande Pietrese.
The master.
The master.
The master.
Pottery has never been a particularly inspiring hobby for me. I've never understood people that took pottery classes or anything. But my goodness, pottery with your foot going and your hands going, it's like playing the drums.
You've zero talent.
Yeah, it's good. I think that's...
Are you making an abstract pot? I'm so sorry for what she did to your pot. The potter's wheel looks a lot easier than what it is, and although Jeannie didn't give it her best go, I think I was a whole lot better. This is easy, look at that. It's not bad, eh? Wow, 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 wow. Hello, hello. Yet not perfect. Wow! Giovanni Falcone was the master ceramic artist, and he was quite skilled at what he did. One thing is for sure, he fell in love with Jeannie.
Siccome sei una ragazza bellissima,
Bellissima.
sei una delle più belle che ho conosciuto, voglio
thank
dare
you.
una cosa bellissima. Questa è
He says he wants to paint me.
il corono, regina della ceramica
Wow.
I
I told you I was the princess.
You're going to give her a big head.
I've never been called a muse before. It was really quite flattering.
I think it's in there.
Really? How do you know that?
In the heart of Salerno, they have this garden of Minerva, which is the oldest botanical garden in Europe. And this garden used to supply medicinal plants for the School of Medicine, which was in Salerno. Salerno had the oldest school of medicine, they had the oldest botanical garden. It must have been a very important city in its time.
Yes, at that time there's no book. It's impossible to recognize the plants in the book. The only possibility to recognize the plants is to show the plants in the reality. And here you can find the plant in the reality.
This was quite fascinating because after what I learned, I'm definitely never going to enter Survivor because some of those plants can kill you.
So this is the tiny little plant that killed Socrates?
Yes, this is cicuta, and the leaves are really
Poisonous?
Yeah, poisonous.
What did he think it was?
He know that this is poisonous. He want the death.
Luciano, I'm really fascinated by all these different kinds of plants, but I have a bit of a problem because I've got this physical challenge, dance competition, and I need some rhythm in my hips, some energy against Jeannie. So is there something you could recommend?
I have a lot of plants for you.
A lot of plants?
Yes, a lot of plants. You want?
Yeah, I want
A little
some.
bit.
Janez thinks he can cheat and get away with it, but I've got eyes in the back of my head. I see everything.
I ask you this question. Why would I not get a little extra help from Mother Nature? I don't know about you, Jeans, but you know, this cruise has really set the benchmark for me.
Absolutely, and the first stop, Salerno, was splendid.
We had fun today.
Very much so. And I enjoy the limoncello from here as well.
Can I tell you a little secret?
Yes.
You know when we were wandering through the botanical gardens? Well, I called Luciano aside and I said, do you have a little magic potion for me for my dance moves?
Ah, Janez, if you think a magic potion is going to save you, well, then may the magic be with you.
Not only a magic potion, but I'm going to need some practice, so I'm going to love you and leave you. Cheers.
Arrivederci. And arrivederci, Salerno.
Had I known that I had a Ukrainian supermodel ballerina as a dance teacher, I would have skipped Salerno altogether.
Janez, what are you doing? You're getting in some extra lessons.
No, just a little quick dance class. Nothing too important.
Hi.
It might be an extra lesson, but make nothing of it.
Well, just don't take up too much of the floor, please, because we want to dance.
The competition's on, girl. Watch out.
So I'm going to teach Janez to dance like national treasure. You need to learn ocho in Spanish word 8. Ocho. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. I'm amazed. I didn't think Janez could do anything. I actually thought he had 2 left feet, and he actually led me properly now. I'm quite impressed.
So much concentration is going into this.
Janez can't do the figure of 8. At all. Show me your ocho.
Yeah.
Stay tuned as we travel by donkey in Santorini. And after a cooking lesson and a parasail session, we're off to the beautiful island city of Rhodes.
Sure, that looks beautiful.
Don't you love Santorini? It's so extreme. If you look at that view, those steep cliffs, 300 meters high with those beautiful white houses perched on the hill, it is spectacular.
I don't understand. Are we actually in a volcano? Like, would the lava be underneath us?
Well, yes, picture this used to be one big island. Then the volcano blew up, one of the biggest eruptions in the history of the world that happened 3,600 years ago, blew up everything from within, created those steep cliff faces. In fact, the eruption was so large, it created a giant tsunami that headed towards Crete, which is like 100 kilometers away, wiped out the entire Minoan civilization, and created this caldera, which is 7 kilometers wide, 12 kilometers long. It's so deep that they can't even anchor the ship here. It's 400 meters down.
Oh, wow. I've never been here before, but I know that they only got electricity in 1967, and quite famously, they don't have any addresses or any street names, so I'm incredibly curious as to how we're going to get around. Santorini is unbelievable. Do you know that they register their donkeys as they do cars? I didn't see any registration numbers on them, but they are gorgeous.
The reason we took the donkeys up to the beautiful town of Tierra is because I ride a donkey like I ride a horse. Very slowly and very controlled. Go,
This
donkey.
is really the most fantastic way to travel. I love these donkeys. They're so cute, but really, really strong. They're making it up just hundreds and hundreds of stairs. Whoa! My shoe, my shoe! Get my shoe!
You've lost the flip-flop, and the donkey ain't stopping. It doesn't understand English. I'm sorry.
My shoe!
Bye-bye, flip-flop.
wow, wow, wow. Tira is actually the official name for Santorini, but whatever you choose to call it, Tira, Santorini, the magic is the same. But words are just not rich enough to describe the sheer beauty of this island.
It's amazing. Santorini is one of those places you arrive here and you just know one day I'm going to come back here.
Forget coming back here one day. I'm just not leaving.
Really? Everything about Santorini is dramatic, from the caldera in the middle to those steep cliff faces. It's picturesque. Anyone who's been to Santorini will know when you arrive here, this place is just so special. Life just feels good. The sun shines brighter, the whites are whiter, the blues are bluer. Even the veggies and the fruits, they just taste better here.
And there's a reason for that. The reason why the food tastes so good is because it's farmed in volcanic ash, basically, which gives it so much more nutrition and taste. And we've got to learn how to cook some Greek food.
We have to. Santorini food.
I've always been the biggest fan of Greek food. And finally, I have my chance to learn how to make it myself. So what are we going to be doing today?
We're gonna make the tomato fritters, a beautiful, traditional, very easy making recipe from Santorini with very basic ingredients. These that are easily found in Santorini.
In Santorini, it doesn't rain often, but what I can say about the local vegetables and local produce is that the combination of the pumice rock, which absorbs a lot of water, and the nutritious volcanic soil, that combination creates so much taste and so much flavor in the local vegetables.
The Santorini local community had to be self-sufficient. They had just very limited ingredients, and they tried to use everything they could from their own land. And that's why they became quite innovative and creative, and by using very simple ingredients, became quite successful in making beautiful dishes.
Wow. And you can smell all those flavors coming through now. Now you can smell it properly.
Great.
In Santorini, they weren't spoiled for choice. They didn't have a lot of variety. So what they had to do with their dishes is mix and match.
You know that movie, My Big Fat Greek Wedding? Well, the guy in there said, all the best food is Greek. All the best language is Greek. And I've got to agree with him. This is outstanding. You know how they say delicious in Greek?
How did they say it again?
Nostimo.
Nostimo. I'm so impressed because all of the veggies are grown on the small little island. Jeans, we are the ultimate beach bums, baby.
This is the life, and what a great beach. In Santorini, there's black beaches, white beaches, red beaches, but I don't understand why the sand is still black.
So let's start where it all began. So we have volcanic lava, which basically mixed with seawater to create these beaches. But over the years, there's new sand coming in, changing the color. You can see the color is actually more of a brown color. It used to be dark black. But how hot is this sand? It burns those pretty little feet of yours, right?
But the water's warm as well.
This is the perfect beach to do some water sports.
Let's do it.
First time parasailing. And I was nervous because it involved heights. And Janez does not like high places.
1 minute we were on the boat. Next thing, we were up in the air, and really high up in the air. And Janez was terrified.
No, I don't like you. No. What happened? I don't like you. I don't like you. Put me down.
The moment we went up and I realized he was only halfway up, I was like, can you please just bring me down? I shouted, please, sir, put me down. And then he put me down into the water.
No. Oh my God! No.
Can we not just be medium height and not go into the water? Is that so difficult?
That was the best thing I've ever done. It was so exciting. Janez was genuinely scared. He was screaming like a little girl. From fun in the sun and full-on island style in Santorini, we hopped across to the beautiful island of Rhodos.
Santorini being the southernmost member of the Cyclade Islands, across the sea, to Rhodos, which is a member of the Dodecanese Islands, and also right next to the Turkish coast.
Greece is made up of over 2,000 islands, but only 227 of them are actually inhabited. Out of all of those, I think this one is possibly the most volatile in terms of political and religious turmoil and even earthquakes.
We all know Rhodos because of what used to be the Colossus of Rhodes, but when you arrive in the city, it's a very well-preserved old town, and it has this fortified wall that extends all the way around the city. It's quite touristy inside, but you can feel that old world nostalgia almost of knights from a bygone era. This is the majestic avenue of the Knights, and it's characterized by these steep walls, and these were the Knights' Inns that you see on the left and right. It also has these turrets and archways and the beautiful stone-engraved coats of arms. Now, the Knights ruled here between 1309 and 1522 before they were defeated by the great Sultan Solomon, and he actually told the citizens they can surrender and escape with their lives and they'd be able to get food. The Knights themselves were allowed to leave to Sicily. They were allowed to take their weapons, their religious icons, and anything they felt was valuable to take with them. The magnificent palace of the Grand Master. Now, this site was previously a citadel used by the Knights as a palace, as a headquarters, and also as their fortress. Then in 1856, it was burnt down by a gunpowder explosion caused by lightning that actually cost the lives of 800 people. The Turks then took it over. They used it as a military hospital, built it up using the stones of the destroyed palace.
From there, the Italians found original drawings and built it to spec in this grandiose manner that we see it today. It was actually intended to be the holiday home for Mussolini and King Emmanuel III. Why could this not have been the holiday home for Princess Jeannie I?
Up next, Jeannie and Janez take a leap of faith before discovering the art of Turkish rug weaving in Kusadasi. Will Jeannie find her magic carpet?
I've been to Rhodes before, so I'd probably cheated a bit with my history knowledge, but what I do know is that the Italians built an Olympic diving board in the middle of the ocean. I had a little dare in the back of my head for Jeannie. What I didn't realize is that when we were in Rhodes, it was gusty, it was choppy, and the conditions weren't perfect.
We did it!
As I got to the top of the diving board, Janez said to me, just go for it, don't even look, don't waste any time, just run and dive. Silly me, still wiping water out of my face, goes, oh, okay, Janez, all trusting. Run and jump, and midway through my jump, I go, this is a lot higher than I thought.
I'm just slightly confused here because it wasn't that high. It was an Olympic diving board, which means it's Olympic height, which I believe is 5 meters. Nothing extraordinary, just normal.
I think Janez set me up because after that dive, I incurred a little injury, and I think he did it on purpose so that I wouldn't be able to dance as good. Today, the elegant Queen Elizabeth has brought us to Kusadasi, Turkey, which is located in a bay in the Aegean Sea.
Kusadasi literally means bird island, and usually in the winter there's only 60,000 people that live here, but come summertime it fills up with 500,000 people. But we've only got one day in Turkey, and I want Turkey to be about truly authentic experiences.
Oh, I can't wait.
When Julius Caesar arrived in Turkey and defeated the Pontus, he said, Veni, Vidi, Vici, which means I came, I saw, I conquered. And when I arrived in Kusadasi, I guess we came and saw and we conquered.
What does one do in Turkey? Well, Turkish carpets, Turkish coffee, Turkish delight. There is so much to see and do here. Aha! You know, we simply can't come to Turkey and not buy one of those fabulous Turkish carpets.
Of course, anything for you, Jeannie. Let's go find you a magic flying carpet.
I told you, I'm not that kind of genie.
Turkish carpets are valuable throughout the world, and what distinguishes them is they're made with a double knot. Now, the difference between a Turkish carpet and a Persian carpet is a Persian carpet is done with a single knot, a Turkish carpet with a double knot.
Why are Turkish carpets in particular the most sought after across the world?
Because they are all made by hand. Unlike the machine-made carpets cannot be duplicated. Because the machine-made rugs, it's just done in a minute by thousand. They don't have any artistic value. And the Turkish carpets really represents a rich cultural heritage. As we talk about, the culture date back about 3,000 years. Actually, it's a dying art, so our main aim is to keep this culture alive.
That's not wool, is it?
This is pure silk.
That's pure silk.
Yeah, if you want to make the pictorial design, it's a must to use such a 100% pure cocoon, which is made by the silkworm we are raising in our premises.
Janez didn't know that silk came from silkworms.
No, if you'd called them silkworms, I would have known that silk came from them, but you didn't call them silkworms. You called them something else.
She is going to ponder to the ends of the cocoon till they attach to the ends of the hand broom. So you can see
That is
many
amazing.
of them.
That is amazing. They're moving as they unwind.
It's unwinding, please.
Look at that.
Very nice.
That is incredible. So all of these cocoons jumping around are simply unwinding.
Yes. Yes.
It's like this little pebble is like vibrating in my hand.
And you can actually see it getting smaller and smaller.
Smaller, yeah.
Just jumped out.
As long as you have a good one, you can get roughly a mile silk threads from each one.
A mile from
A
one.
mile. Wow.
This carpet is so beautiful and has so many rich colors. What type of carpet is this?
This is suggested in bride's dowry, which is included in the wedding inventory of marriages. It's a must before they get married. A lady should make this type of rug to prove her skill for her prospective mother-in-law. Because in my country, it's a customary. It is taken to the boy's house before they get married, making such a long stripes group of rugs, which is dowry.
This is going to be so difficult for you to impress my mother.
A Turkish man would never marry me.
So you will not be married.
I won't be married to a Turkish man.
Should we move along?
The Turkish double knot carpets comprise of like 347,000 knots in just 1 square meter. This looks very labor intensive. Is it difficult?
Of course, it's stressful actually. It's a wool-on cotton backing, and she has been weaving this rug over 3 months. And she is tying the thread at speed faster than the eye. And I will ask her to make slow motion, then you can see famous Turkish double knots. Over and under. You find the 2 ends of the thread and pull it down. We don't have any man-made carpets. They're all made by the lady weavers.
Because we can't handle the stress.
Yeah, and we don't have so much patience to make these carpets.
But we do enjoy Turkish coffee.
Yeah. Shall we? Let's
Indeed.
go.
And pull it down. Hey, I did it. I'm a natural. I'm definitely a weaver.
Jeannie, how on earth is this going to fly?
It's flying all the way home with me. Mark Anthony bought Cleopatra the southeast coast of Kusadasi as a wedding present. Now, I'm not asking for much. It was a carpet. All I want in my life is for a man to prove his love to me and buy me a coastline.
Next week on Top Travel, Jeannie and Janez go horseback riding on the Kusadasi coast, then scrub up nicely at a hammam. Back on board, they get competitive in the kitchen before moving on to Athens for a date with a poet sandal maker and the ancient Acropolis.